Welcome to Serger School with Bernina. I'm Amanda Carestio, and I am joined today by Julian Collins. Julian, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We are covering hemming techniques on your serger, and today we are going to be talking about the Flatlock hem. I love this hem option. It's really sturdy, it's stretchy, and it's a little bit decorative. I really like it.
Definitely is.
Yeah. Julian, tell us a little bit more about how the stitch works.
Definitely. So this one, it is a flatlock stitch done with a 2-thread flatlock.
Okay.
And what we can see here is that we have the main flatlock on the outside, and on the back edge, we have just a ladder stitch.
Right.
And what makes this stitch work really well is basically how you're folding the fabric.
Got it.
You want to make sure that you're folding that edge all the way in, and you'll be turning off the knife of your machine.
Okay, well, let's jump into the folding technique and then move to the machine and see the stitch in action.
Definitely.
Okay, before we move to the machine, we need to do a little bit of prep work on our hem.
Definitely. So again, this is all about how we fold the fabric. So here we want to make sure that we're folding it up. So this is kind of folding the right size towards the back side, and then folding it up again.
Okay.
Making sure the edge of that fabric is right towards that inside of that that first fold.
Got it.
That is really what's going to catch it so that we
Yeah.
can get that decorative edge. Now, once we're ready to go to our machine, I have it already set up for our 2-thread overlock wide,
Okay.
which gives you that flat lock stitch. I've turned down my needle tension, but definitely check out your machine manual to make sure that you're having all the proper tension settings set. And I also increased my stitch length. This went to around a 3.6 because I just want to see the thread a little bit
Yeah,
more.
absolutely.
So I also have disengaged the knife of my machine, and you want to check to make sure that you know where that is. On this L860, it's down here on the side here.
So handy.
Super simple.
I like that.
Now, when we're putting this under the presser foot, and we're using our regular presser foot again, you want to make sure that you're getting it all the way up towards the top here, and you have a little bit of space on the edge because that gives you that really great size of wrapping.
Got it.
And so that you can see those loops.
Yeah, I definitely want to see those loops.
And we're using a little variegated thread
Yeah,
here for
I
a
like
little
it.
decorative
Yeah.
touch.
I'm into it.
So then we're going to get started here. And sometimes you do have to give it a little second.
Yeah.
So I'll always make sure that if you're working in the round, you're going to kind of overlap that just a bit. You want to make sure that you also have a thread tail, because what you're going to do now is you will take a needle into these and just kind of loop them to the back to secure them.
Got it.
So now once we have taken it off the machine, what we can easily do is start to pull it to open it up to see the magic happen.
Oh, yes. It is kind of magical.
So as we can see here, we see the loops on top.
Yep.
And then on the back side,
The ladder stitch.
we have the ladder stitch.
Looks like you caught that hem just perfectly. Awesome. Well, where can folks go to learn a little bit more about how this stitch works?
So if a person needs a little extra help, you can definitely check out Bernina.com for videos on how this works step by step.
Awesome. And you can also refer back to the article in Sew News and on sewdaily.com. Let's talk a little bit of troubleshooting with the Flatlock hem. One of the things that can happen is that too much thread kind of shows on this right side. What are your tips for that?
So if you want to show less thread, you can definitely kind of decrease the amount of fabric that is kind of under that needle and under that looper. So that it's the looper thread that's really creating the size. So
Okay.
just a little bit less can make it a smaller stitch.
Awesome. Okay, and on the flip side, on the back here, sometimes it can be hard to actually catch that edge. What are your tips there?
So here you want to make sure that you really got a good fold, because usually if your fold is a little bit off, that's where you're going to not catch all of that raw edge.
That makes a lot of sense. So practice, practice, practice.
Definitely,
Awesome.
definitely.
Well, let's jump into applications. That's my favorite part. Can definitely see using this on sweatshirts, athletic wear. I'm not a super decorative type of person, but I really like this one. It mimics ready to wear for me.
It does. This is a really great entry level decorative stitch because you can use just variegated thread as a simple option, or you can use your bypass threading guide to even use a thicker thread. So this is done with a thicker weight thread just to give a different finish. You can use glittery threads or threads with all different types of colors and different things like that for a really unique finish.
Awesome. Well, we have covered so much ground today. We've talked about the Flatlock, the machine setup, the fabric setup. We've talked troubleshooting, applications. Cannot thank you enough, Julian, for sharing all of your tips today.
Thank you again for having me.